Wir bleiben im Englischen für unser nächstes Panel und ich darf eine weitere Frau Doktor begrüßen, die Sie heute Vormittag schon mal auf der Bühne gesehen haben. Unser Thema Open Finance für das nächste Panel ist so eines der großen Themen des heutigen Tages. Wir haben es immer wieder gehört. Und darum, wie ein freierer Datenzugang und wie Interoperabilität auf einen Business Case einzahlen können, wird es im nächsten Panel gehen. Vielleicht haben Sie es schon gelesen. Moderieren wird ein weiteres Mal Professor Dr. Silke Finken, Professorin für Innovationsmanagement an der International School of Management. Herzlich willkommen ein zweites Mal auf der Bühne, Dr. Finken.
And I would love my wonderful panel to join me on stage. We're still waiting for the technical support for Matt. Well, we're just gonna take the stage first. So, open finance in action. Matt, you have to shout from the back for the first minute. I'm sure you will manage. Okay, so just going to start with the introduction of my wonderful panel, being joined by Matt. So, Ulrike to my left, Ulrike Czekay, with wealthAPI, more than 15 years of experience in communication, focused on fintechs, startups, currently at wealthAPI. She's leading the communication and marketing, and a lot of strategic initiatives, so basically lots of juggling of different initiatives. And she's also an advocate and very active member of fintechs, of the fintech lady community. So active in a lot of areas as well. Then Jenke, Managing Director of Tink Germany since October 2024, so for a full year now, leading the German business of Tink. Innovative payments and banking solutions, lending as well, account-to-account payments, so lots of the things that we want to take further with open finance. Also more than 15 years of experience in the fintech industry, legally, technically, so again, broad perspective that she's bringing to the party and to the panel. She worked for Pliant, Ford, Klarna, and fintech systems. And the thing is, with all her Nordic knowledge and connections, so if you're ever planning a trip to the Nordics, especially Stockholm, Caroline is the one to talk to, and she's going to give you excellent travel tips. So if you're planning to go to the Nordics, grab a coffee with her later. If you're planning to talk about open finance and fintech, grab a coffee with her. Same there. All right, Matt is joining us on stage. Matt, he admitted to starting out as a open banking cynic in his past life. So we're converting everybody person by person, piece by piece. And now open finance, that's your life. And especially focusing on use cases that really bring value to the user. So that's your main goal. And you brought in a very interesting analogy because he used to be a professional motorcycle racer in his past life, so colorful experiences. He said that in the beginning it was very hard to really get all the data on how the bike functions to the engineers. He says basically, and that's what we're seeing it now with open data, so that now we're actually getting all the data, and so we can basically use the data to optimize how the motorcycles and how the use cases are running, and that we really can use those data to more and more automatically optimize how our financial life is working. So I really like that picture. To kick off our panel, what I would love for you to do is give me your vision of a true data-driven financial economy. What is your highlight? And I would love to hear something really visionary, not we're having a chatbot. I think that's what we said earlier. So what is your vision? What is a highlight where you say, okay, this would really be a truly data-driven financial economy?
Well, I'd like to think that we are already a little bit beyond the vision. Yeah, at wealthAPI, we are building products within Open Wealth for 2 years already. But if I would have to pin it down, it would be a defined data quality standard, because as of now, the data we get from the market is really shitty, and the quality is not as we would like it to be. And once we have that sorted out, we're going to be able to build a financial home that actually works for the customer, not just the current accounts, but everything you have financially, portfolio data, real asset data, and stuff like that. And I imagine this to be just like the weather forecast in the morning. You wake up, you put on your phone, and you see, how am I doing financially? What's going to happen next week? Which contracts do I have to pay next week? Is there a dividend that's going to be paid out to help me with the cash flow? That would be my vision.
So the perfect holistic view.
Exactly.
Clean data. All right, Caroline, your vision.
I can second this. Actually, it's a truly open and connected financial world where the finances work for the customer, for me, myself. And I envision an app and a holistic view, my bank app, where I cannot just only have this holistic view on all my financial life. I can also get advice on how to spend smarter, how to save money, or how to plan for my retirement. So, a world where the finances really work for me.
Yeah, and again, holistic, and also with a certain degree of foresight.
Yes,
analysis and foresight. Yeah, like that. Matt, your perfect motorcycle.
Well, I'm going to switch to cars. If I may.
Now he's adding 2 more wheels.
I'm more into bikes, but I also like cars.
We'll take 4 wheels.
No, for me, I want finance to be like my car. And what I mean by that is, these days, 20 years ago, if I'm driving down the road, I might run out of fuel. The car's not going to tell me if I don't happen to look at the gauge. The coolant might be too low, or the oil might be too low, or there might be another problem with the vehicle. We all drive vehicles now that tell us if we're exceeding the speed limit, that tell us where the nearest parking place is, or the nearest place to fuel up is. My view is finance, you think about what motoring has done in 20 years with digitization and the technology that we have in a vehicle these days that helps us. We don't have anything like that in finance. So it's in some senses, I'm exactly the same as my colleague panelists. But I would like something that is at that level, that says to me, okay, you've just had another child. You don't have enough life insurance because that child is going to cost X over this period of time. Therefore, you need to do something. I want something that is that interactive, that I've got all of my financial data. I've also got access to external data that says, okay, you need to do X and you need to do it now, and here's our recommendation. Because I feel most people, most consumers, finance is an area, and we're all talking about it at a very high level. I mean, we've just had a conversation about crypto. But the reality is, I would guess 70–80% of the population isn't touching that. But they're not saving enough, or they're wasting money on an investment in a savings plan, and instead they're paying more on their mortgage, and the difference in the interest rates means that doesn't make sense. There is no reason, with all the data that we have available, with the intelligence built on top of that, that we can't have something that literally says to you, this is what you need to do now, here's the recommendation, and ideally, going beyond that, the real vision is press a button and make it happen.
Yeah, then we just have to be careful, because you remember when you're going slightly over the speed limit, your car starts beeping. This very annoying sound that you actually can't switch off. So we probably just have to be careful that we're not switching off that beeping sound when we're going over our budget, right? So self-care. Love your vision. Let us take a look back to the past, because before open finance, there was open banking. That's where we're coming from. And Caroline, you've seen it all. You've seen a lot of when we were moving from open banking towards open and embedded finance. So based on your experience, what are the key lessons that especially banks also had to learn, are learning, have to learn to thrive in this new vision of open embedded finance? And how will open finance also differ from open banking? Because open banking was, I mean, there's some good cases. Some people also criticize that it didn't really live up to what we hoped for. So what are the key lessons, and what do banks need to do to thrive in open finance?
Very central question. And I'm in the open banking space since 15 years, so I really read the green book of PSD2. So I know the travel, and the major shift is from a narrow scope of data to a really holistic scope of data. But this is not the main change. The main change will be a mindset change, in my opinion. It will be, first of all, to really thrive in open finance. We all need to make sure that, especially within the banks, that we come from a compliance mindset to an innovative mindset, which means that if we concentrate on costs of compliance, we will not achieve true innovation. It will be when we see the core strategic possibilities that open finance will give us. And what does it mean, especially for me as a bank? How can I deepen my customer relationship? How can I build better products when open finance now takes action? And second, really embrace the ecosystem, meaning we all want to collaborate on this with a trust and scale of banks, and with the technology and agility of fintechs, we can really build innovative products. And third point is that we don't monetize the railways, the pipeline for the data, but really monetize the value-added services that we can build on this data. And I think this is a key learning we had from PSD2, where there are a lot of complaints that this is we give data away for free. But I think it's this mindset that is necessary to really monetize the value-added services. And to your example, I wanted to use a simpler example. Just data is like the ingredients in the kitchen, but we want to sell a delicious meal to the customer. So this is where I see a huge mindset from compliance to innovation.
Great, thanks. Let me take two of your keywords that you said: technology and collaboration partnerships. But first, let me get to you, Ulrike, with technology. Because at wealthAPI, you are also looking into insights, using AI to generate these insights, to generate those value-driven use cases. So the question is, for me, are we visiting, or are we seeing a new level of value creation now that the puzzle pieces are moving into place with AI, generative AI, also helping us with unstructured data, and then data being more and more opened up, available? Is that a new era? And how does just technology and AI play into that?
I think the proof of concept has been done, but it has been done by financial platforms and financial experts like Finanzfluss, Extra ETF on Vista. And they proved that customers are ready to pay for excellent data and for excellent products. And they managed to embed this into financial education platform. That's also what you said, right? Because we need to combine it. We cannot just throw the product out there. We also need to teach people how to use that. And now, it's up to the market to see that lesson that we learned from those financial experts, or finfluencers, as we also call them, and to open up and to see that there's a business opportunity. People are ready to pay for this, And I must say, the data cannot be for free, I must disagree there, because excellent data, there's a lot of work in this. And somebody has to pay for it, but at the end, I agree, there will also be a value behind it, so it's going to repay. And if we are now opening up to open wealth, there's a huge data cloud that we have to think of, thousands of transactions and things that can happen to financial data, like mergers or splits or capital measures. And AI can help to sort that out. It can reduce complexity in terms of a mathematical algorithm, and therefore make the AI will do the work. Yeah. Obviously, it has to be regulated and it compliant and everything, but it can help you to learn also, like I said, with a financial forecast about your financial situation. Yeah, to give you an example, if you now look into your banking app, you will probably see with a little bit of sorting out how much you've spent on Christmas presents last year. Yeah, you do a little bit of filtering. What did I spend November, December? But now with AI, it could actually tell you what did you spend money for. Like, did you spend a lot on gift cards, or was it more jewelry? And then maybe in 2 years you can look back and say, oh, maybe I give my wife a different present this year, yeah, because I've spent everything on gift cards in the past years. So AI can really help, to give you better insights into your finances.
Yeah, and I also like the idea of like having two levels. So data being valuable in itself, but then also the value that we create with the data as an ingredient. Collaboration, and Matt, that is one of the things. Qwist has been one of the pioneers to work with lots of other partners to really extract value also from data. So when we think about collaboration as being also one of the key ingredients that we need to really push open finance forward, what are your lessons learned? What are the most important success criteria from your experience with regard to partnerships, collaboration, and really to also design data-driven and innovative use cases?
Yeah, I mean, I love Caroline's analogy. It was much simpler and shorter than mine, so way better. And I think collaboration actually makes that point. What you're starting with is raw data. Raw data is not particularly useful. Most people look at a bank statement, I certainly do, and go, what's that? I can't remember what a given transaction is, because you might have 6 characters, UBR-pay. What that means is I use PayPal to pay for an Uber. Right? But without knowing that quite important piece of information, you can't do anything with the data. It doesn't help you. So the first thing you need to do is understand the data. Then you need to apply it. And I'm going to slightly disagree with Ulrike, because I do think what the market has shown us is that in general people are prepared to pay for an outcome rather than to pay for an input. And so what I mean by that is where it works really well is, so let's say I have somebody looking after my pension plan actively. I'm paying them a fee per annum based on delivering me a given return on that pension fund. I'm not paying them based on the amount of effort they put in. I'm paying them based on the outcome. And I think what we've learned over the last 20, 30 years is a number of people have tried models where they've said in the financial space to the general consumer, you should pay for X, and in general, the general consumer says, well, thank you very much, but no, because somebody else is offering me possibly they're going to have to pay more, but they're paying based on a success criteria rather than paying for the input. So without wandering off topic too much, what I think are the ingredients for a successful delivery of a product, and which then also leads into how do you collaborate to be successful in this space, is you start out with raw data, so you've got to be able to access that raw data, and you've got to be able to get it from pretty much every financial institution, otherwise it's not terribly useful. Then you've got to be able to categorize it, and then you've got to have somebody that actually knows what to do with it. We recently did an exercise with a bank, and we'd been sort of playing around with AI models and said, hang on, we've got all this data, we've got categorized data. We should be able to build a better default risk model, for example. So when people, and we were focusing on lower value loans, typical buy now, pay later loans. We said, let's see if we can build a model that actually beats some of the models with our customers. And we sort of did. We sort of did. But when we looked at it, it wasn't terribly compelling, and it wasn't that much better. But then what we did instead was say, well, hang on, we've got a lot more data. What if we feed better quality data into an existing risk model that therefore the lender can explain to the potential borrower when they accept or reject that application? And things like income stability, when you're able to give it based on 2 to 5 years worth of data as opposed to 3 to 6 months worth of data, the data quality is better and therefore the model gives you better output. So for me, the ingredients are, you need the raw data, you need to better classify it, and then you need somebody who actually understands the space in which you are operating. I.e., if you're talking about lending, as an open finance provider, you're probably not going to say, hey, we're going to do that. What you do is you're going to speak to somebody who does that regularly and understands both the regulatory requirements, the consumer requirements to make it work, and has the intelligence to say, okay, this is what we can do with it. So those really, for me, are the 3 stages to end up with a successful product that's actually going to generate value for both the business offering it and the consumer consuming that product.
If I may rebuttal on this, yeah.
Go ahead.
I disagree, yeah, because I think that, like I said, the proof of concept has been done. Like Finanzfluss has turned 200,000 YouTube viewers into actual customers. And I think in the beginning they didn't know what they would get for the pro version, but they were ready to pay for it because they had trust. And this is what banks need to build up, yeah, trust from their customers that they will offer a great product.
I'm not knocking it, but I would point out that 200,000 people out of a population in Europe of 300 million is a fairly low percentage.
Well, I mean, you got to start somewhere to scale up.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have
proof of concept, right?
As a proof, it's not a bad proof of concept.
Yeah, and positively, it's these are banks, for example, or insurers, already traditional, established partners here in this ecosystem that have already trust and just really need to unlock
now they need
this,
innovation
possibilities with open finance.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like when we say we need the innovation. How does really innovation look like? Because I mean, why are we doing this? One of the things that the EU Commissioner says, level playing field, more competition, more innovation. So how does innovation truly look like? What is innovative open finance? We had the holistic view, we had the forecast, the foresight. Is that it? Or are there more elements? So what is truly the innovation in open finance?
Yeah, I wouldn't stop with a holistic view and the forecast, but really with active advice. It would be, I can imagine a kind of individual personalized agent for my finances who could not only see all my financial plans, but can also help me to achieve my goals. For example, I want to spend a sabbatical in 5 years for 3 months, how to get there? Or I want to retire at 60, how can I achieve these goals? And then, truly new would be from this descriptive view on my data to have a predictive view on the data. So how to adjust and how to find new ways for my financial world. And I think this is also a huge innovation step from the predictive and holistic view to a predictive and even actionable view. It could be the agent who made micro adjustments necessary when the market when there is a market need, or who can offer a credit to a business owner in the app when the system predicts a liquidity shortcut or a cash flow gap. This would be the step we could go further.
So predictive, personalized, contextualized, automized. Those are the
yes.
Good.
And I would say I'm not sure if it's truly innovative, but a good thing would be to put the customer first again, and to maybe, I mentioned this earlier, sit with your customer service for a week as a product designer and listen to the problems that customers actually have, what they would like, what their pain points are. And I know compliance is important, I already said that, but we need products that customers actually want.
Yeah, you have answered my next question. That's good. What do we need?
Can I disagree slightly again?
Go ahead. That makes it more lively.
I'm just going to quote Henry Ford at you. If I'd asked my customers what they wanted, they'd have told me a faster horse. Okay. I think open finance is so huge that there is no way that we can sit here or stand here as 4 people and say, here's all the potential innovations. I mean, I think we could all reel off 10 off the top of our heads. But when this really takes off is when the data is available, it's classified, it can be combined in an easy way, and then there will be other people saying, I've got a great idea. I mean, fundamentally, Steve Jobs came up with the iPhone. Prior to that, mobile internet really wasn't a thing. Nobody was that interested. Suddenly, that provided capabilities, and people were then able to build the millions of applications that now exist. I think open finance is that. Open finance is the enabling technology on which a vast plethora of potential innovations can be built. And I'm not even going to pretend that I know what I think people will come up with. I think people are going to come up with stuff in the next 3 to 5 years, and we're all going to go, wow, didn't think of that one.
And I fully agree, but I have to side with Ulrike at this point, because I know the quote with the faster horses. But the point is, what is the true customer need? It's not a fast horse. I mean, those of you who are into horse racing, I'll grant you that. But what is the true customer need? It's getting from A to B, safe, fast, convenient, and maybe even affordable or cheap. Yeah, and I think this is what I think is very important. What you raised is really understanding the customer need, and I mean the fundamental customer need. And then open finance can offer us a lot of possibilities, and some that we don't even think about yet. But if we know the customer need, then it's up to us, all of us, to be creative and come up with cool cases.
Yeah.
But what does it take? What do we have to do as an industry, or as an industry? I'm just looking at the watch, kind of like, so semi-last question, because the next panel is already getting ready. So what do we need to do as an industry? So really understanding fundamental customer needs. What do we need as an industry? What are the key prerequisites to really get there? So technology, collaboration, really understanding the basic customer needs, and I fully agree, not stop with a fast horse. Is there anything else that we as an industry, we as an ecosystem need to do?
Speed.
Speed?
Yeah, we have to get faster. And if I may rebuttal again,
I like this
maybe it's because of my background in fintech, but the bigger the problem, the better. We are fintechs because we don't work in banks, and we are innovative, and it's great if you get a challenge and then you can solve it. So I'd say, why not? Yeah, maybe this is the innovation we need. Yeah, say, let's tackle also the challenges and the difficult things. But yeah, speed would be one thing, and AI, definitely to, like I said, reduce the complexity of all the data. You just mentioned it. Yeah.
True, and I would just add one aspect, which is regulation, because of my background. And I think what would be necessary is the right regulation. We need an open regulation based on one principle, that the consumer has the right to access their data through a third party, a FISP or a TPP, fintech. So based on this principle, it should be open and left to the market to innovate, to find new ways. And then I think it's also the mindset shift that we need in the industry.
Yeah. I mean, for me, and I'm here going to agree with you, Ulrike, is I actually think, particularly within banks, as open finance advisors and providers, we need to be talking to different people. So fundamentally, what's happened, partly because of the regulatory requirements, is we've ended up talking to governance and then the IT and engineering function within an organization. We need to be going and selling the value of what can be done with this to marketing, to lending, to advisory, to all those different departments that actually are struggling because with the current GDPR regulation, in some cases, the banks can't access their own information anymore, or what they consider as their own information. They're struggling to get that data because they put it somewhere, and now there's a separate entity, so their lending arm can't look at the account data and go, hey, which of our customers should we talk to? No. So we need to, if you like, tomorrow what we need to start doing is talking to marketing, talking to sales, talking to lenders, talking to the people who are actually going to be able to use this to then make it a better user experience.
Let me get on it tomorrow because I'm just using the last 90 seconds that we have, so 25 seconds for each of you, 15 for me. I was going to ask about the most visionary use case, but we basically, I think, covered that. What is your most realistic use case within the next 2 years? What is going to be the coolest one?
I hope it's going to be FIDA, that we really get it from the pending proposals to an actual proposal, and that we can then take it from there also to a global regulation, because EU is fine, it's great if we can sort that out, but we discussed this before, in order to really get competition on the agenda, we also need to think this globally.
Yeah, my favorite use case is also the credit decisioning, and I think an instant credit decision based on the account data plus enriched with additional data would be a perfect use case that we can deliver very soon.
and I just build on that and say, if you can also then build in and use the instant payments framework as well, so that you can then make decisions and have money coming in and coming out in at least a semi-automated way in the very near future. I think that's possible, and it's going to make people's lives so much easier when they can literally go, okay, we advise this, action it, click a button, make it happen. Okay, the money's now gone from your mortgage account, it's now gone into your savings account, or vice versa. That kind of ease of use would have a huge impact, I think, on individual finance, and would create a perception of much greater value people receiving from the banking relationship.
Great, thanks. I told them to be lively. We're up to the task? Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.